How were states to be formed? Next, the initial responsibility for the well being of the people of the province should rest with the provincial governments. The constitution sought to balance these competing claims by providing their listed of subject a union list with subjects such as lax defense and foreign affairs, which would be the exclusive responsibility of the centers, a state list of subjects such as education and health, which would be taken care of principally by the states, a concrete list under which would come subjects such as forests and agriculture, in which the center and the state would have joint responsibility. Next, another major debate in the Constituent Assembly concerned language. Many members believed that the English language should leave India with the British rulers. Its place, they argued, should be taken by Hindi. However, those who did not speak Hindi were of a different opinion speaking in the assembly. Next, T.T. Krishna Bhattacharya conveyed a warning on behalf of people of the south, some of whom threatened to separate from India in Hindi was imposed on them. A compromise was finally arrived at, namely that while Hindi would be the official language of India, English would be used in the courts, the service, and communications between one state and other state. Next, many Indians contributed to the framing of the constitutions, but perhaps the most important role was played by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was chairman of the drafting committee and under whose supervision the document was finalized. In this final speech to this Constituent Assembly, Dr. Ambedkar pointed out the political democracy had to be accompanied by economic and social democracy. Giving the right of voice would not automatically lead to the removal of other, such as between rich and poor or between upper and lower castes. With the new constitution, he said, India was next going to enter into a life intercourse and politics. We equality and to social and economic life. We will have inequality in policies. We will be recognizing the principle of one man, one vote, and one value in our social and economic life. We shall, by reason of our social and economic structures, continue to deny the principle of one man, one value. Next, back in the 1920, the Indian National Congress, the main party of the freedom struggle, and promised that once the country won independence, each major legislative groups would have own provider. Next, however, after independence, the Congress did not take any step to honor this promise, for India had been divided on the basis of religion. Despite the wishes and efforts of Mahatma Gandhi, freedom had come not to one nation but to two. As a result of the partition of India, more than 1 million people had been killed in riots between Hindus and Muslims. Could the country afford further divisions on the basis of language? Next, both Prime Minister Nehru and Deputy Prime Minister Vallabhbhai Patel were against the creation in legislative states. After the partition, Nehru said this protest had come to for achieve them, the nation had to be strong and united, or as Patel put it next, the first and last need to India at the present moment is that it should be made a nation. Everything which helps of growth of nationalism has to go forward, and everything which through obstacles in its way has to be rejected. We have applied this test on linguistics provisions also, and by the test in our opinion they cannot be supported. Next, that the Congress leaders would now go back on their promise created great disappointment. The Khanda speakers, Malayalam speakers, the Marathi speakers had all looked forward to having their own state. The strongest protest, however, came from the Telugu speaking districts of what was the Madras Presidency when Nehru went to campaign there during the general election of 1952. He was met with black flags and slogans demanding "We want Andhra." In October of that year, a veteran Gandhian named Poti Srimulu went to in a hunger strike demanding the formation of Andhra state of protect and interest of Telugu speakers as the first went on. It attracted much support. Hurtle and Bandhas were observed in many towns. Next, on 15 December 1952, 58 days into his fast, Poti Srimulu died. As a newspaper put it, the news of the passing away of Srimulu entire Andhra in shows. The protests were so widespread and intense that the central government was forced to give into the demand. Thus, on a 1st October 1953, the new state of Andhra came into being, subsequently became Andhra Pradesh. Next, after the creation of Andhra Pradesh, other legislative communities also demanded their own separate states. Next, a state commission was set up which submitted its report in 1956 recommending the redrawing of district and provisional boundaries to form compact provisions of Assamese, Bengalis, Oriya, Tamil Nadu, Malayalam, Kannada, and Telugu speakers' responsibility. Next, the large Hindi speaking region of North India was also to be broken up into several states. A little later in 1960, the bilingual state of Bombay was divided into separate states for Marathi and Gujarati speakers in 1966. The state of Punjab was also divided into Punjab and Haryana. The former of the Punjab speakers too were also mostly Sikhs, the latter for rest who spoke not Punjab but versions of Haryana or Haryanvi or Hindi. Next, a state creates to be a principal state as and when its prince agreed to merger with India or Pakistan of was defeated, but many of these states were retained as administrative unit until 31st October 1956. Planning for development, lifting India and Indians out of poverty, and building a modern technical and industrial base were among the major objectives of the new nation. In 1950, the government set up a planning commission to help design and execute suitable policy for economic development. There was a broad agreement on what was called a mixed economic model, where both the state and the private sector would play important and complementary role in increasing productions and generating jobs. What especially these roles were to be, which industries should be initiated by the state and which by the market, how or achieve a balance between of different regions and state was to be defined by the planning commission. Next, in 1956, the second five-year plan was formulated. This focused strongly on the development of heavy industries such as steel and on building of large dams. These sectors would be under the control of the state. This focus on heavy industries and the efforts and state regulation of the economic was to guide economic policy for the next few decades. The approach and many strong sports, but also some vocal cities. Some felt that it would put independent efficiency on agriculture. Next, others argued that it had neglected primary education. Still others believed that it had not taken account of the environmental implications of economic policies, as Mahatma Gandhi follower Mira Ben wrote in 1949. By the science, the machinery of mankind may get hug return for a time, but ultimately will come dissolutions. We have got to study nature's balance and develop out lives within her laws if we were to survive as a physically healthy and morally decent space. Stop.